What's going on, everybody? So I'm going to jump in before this actual episode gets started because this is perfect timing. I will be honest, I don't pay attention a lot to TikTok because we don't do a lot with it. So I recorded this episode a couple of weeks ago, and we're planning on launching it in probably a week or two because we have a handful of podcasts before it. But TikTok got banned this morning and is officially shut down. And yeah, who knows, Trump might come in and reverse it. But I know there's a lot of people freaking out because that was their main form either of income or where they got their clients. So we are going to launch this episode early because it is so appropriate. But this is 100% the exact issue with single channel risk. Stuff like this happens. It happens more often than you think across all the different platforms. So yeah, this is why you should not rely on a single channel for your clients. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Tattoo Marketing Podcast. On this week's episode, we are going to talk about marketing and single channel risk, essentially getting all of your clients from one spot. I'll give you some stories about why this is not a good idea. And I know a lot of you are seeing that right now with word of mouth being the primary way that most shops get new clients. And, 2024 was not a great year, and it's looking to be the same in 2025, if not worse. So we're going to help you get out of that rut. Enjoy. All right, welcome to the Tattoo Marketing Podcast. My name is Jesse. I am the owner of Inklink. We are a marketing company that works exclusively with tattoo shops. Right now, we work with over 100 shops here in the U.S., a couple overseas. So, yeah, this is our bread and butter. So, I want to talk today about the risks when it comes to marketing and only having a single channel, whether that is word of mouth, whether that is Google ads, Facebook ads, anything. If you only have clients coming in from one source, things can get pretty bad pretty quickly. And I know a lot of shops are experiencing that right now. It's the beginning of 2025 with everything that's going on in the economy, all the new shops popping up. Everybody had a great 2022. A lot of shops were turning away people. If only it was still like that. But it has, since 2022, it has just been a downward curve, and it's only going to get worse. The industry is projected to double here in the United States by 2029, 2030. So we've got about 4 to 5 more years for the industry. Like, you guys think it's competitive and getting busy now? Just give it a couple years. So a couple examples I wanted to use of single channel risk is back in 2020, I had a company called PR Labs. We sold lifting gear, like wrist wraps, straps, belts, knee sleeves, stuff like that to competitive power lifters and strongmen. Now, with COVID, it was already getting pretty rough. A lot of gyms were shutting down temporarily. There weren't a lot of competitions happening, still some, and we were still managing to sell our products via ads on Facebook, Instagram. There was a decent amount of decline, but we were still able to do it. Then on September 16th, 2022, Apple and the iPhone released iOS 14. And what this essentially did was Meta, or Facebook at the time, and Instagram essentially got into and Apple got into a pissing match. And it's turned into a lot of stuff. If right now you try to boost a post on Instagram from their app on an iPhone, you'll notice they're charging you some, like 20% or something, which is ridiculous. And this is part of the fallout from their whole essentially dick measuring competition. So they implemented iOS 14, and this made it so when somebody left Facebook, they could not be tracked. Now, how the pixel in Facebook works and what made it so powerful is when somebody left Facebook to go to your website or your landing page, you could still track them via cookies, stuff like that. With iOS 14 coming out, you could not do that. Now, since then, there's workarounds. Like we can do it for clients via mail APIs, and I know that's probably over a lot of people's heads, not super relevant. But what this essentially did for not just our business, but almost everybody running ads on Facebook was it made their marketing so much less effective. I'm talking about a 70 to 80% drop in revenue, drop in sales, drop in income. And this is overnight. It was an immediate thing, and we knew it was coming for a couple months. Everybody did the best they could. But again, so you have COVID happening, which is hurting a bunch of business. They have iOS 14 dropping the effectiveness of ads by 70 to 80% overnight. It was huge. It was huge. And since PR Labs got the majority of their business, how I scaled it was from Facebook ads, it it became a huge amount of stress. Um, and I still have about $50,000 worth of product for that company in a storage unit. Um, but it didn't just affect us. It affected anybody trying to it affects tattoo shops. It affects plumbers. It affected every single person doing ads on Facebook. And since that was the primary driver for a lot of companies, including my own, it essentially killed it overnight. Now we had brand ambassadors, we had a good reputation, which was helpful. But again, the majority was coming from Facebook. And so that's one of the stories of the issue with single channel risk when it comes to marketing. Right now, we are seeing it a bunch too with tattoo shops that primarily got all of their clients from word of mouth. With the slowdown of people coming in, with the amount of shops popping up, with the economy not being at its best, people that solely relied on word of mouth the last 15, 20, 50 years are all of a sudden seeing that not work. So it's the same thing. That is, even if it's word of mouth, that is still single channel risk. Um, so having essentially all your eggs in one basket for your entire business, and I learned that lesson, and now we have multiple different ways for InkLink, for PR Labs, and other companies I help out with to get people, to get new clients, to sell product. And it's honestly the best way to do it, because they're, even with having 70 to 80% drop in conversions and revenue from Facebook ads, if we had Google ads set up, if we had referral programs, if we had a bunch of different channels, I mean, it still would have sucked, but it wouldn't have been as devastating as it was. Like for you tattoo shop owners, if you're relying on word of mouth and it's slow right now, imagine if you would have got your Google ads working 2 years ago. Imagine if you would have got your Meta ads, your Facebook, your Instagram going. Imagine if you had started a referral program 2 years ago and all these different sources of people coming in. Obviously, the slowdown in walk-in traffic would have still hurt, but it wouldn't be as big of a deal as it is. And we wouldn't be seeing so many shops shutting down that have been around for 20, 30 years. And that's the importance of having multiple sources of getting clients. The other issue is with scalability. If you're going to bring on new artists and it's all around a single channel, same thing happens. That channel goes away. All of a sudden you brought in these new artists. You can't feed them anymore. They have to go find somewhere else. Now, obviously artists should be responsible for bringing in their own clients as well. A lot of the times they will just sit there and feed off the shop, but they should be they shouldn't be sitting around waiting on walk-ins. But that, again, that's a topic for a different. So what channels can shop owners use? So obviously there's word of mouth. That's king. That will always be king. But we're seeing a huge decline in it over the last 2 years, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. Coming up with some kind of a referral program, and this is something that I talk about a lot and that every shop should be doing. Essentially, when somebody gets tattooed, tell them and then send a follow-up text, email, stuff like that. Obviously, don't be annoying, but let them know, hey, if you refer a friend, we'll give you $50 off the next time you come in. Give the incentive to the referrer before the referee. You can give it to both, but incentivize the person referring first. Um, Paid ads, Instagram ads, Facebook ads, and Google ads. The good thing is if you have both of those channels up and running and they're doing well, because things like this will happen. iOS 14 was the worst we'd ever seen it across all industries. But they're always making little tweaks, little changes to who you can target through their audience. If you've ever run Google ads or Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Meta ads, especially through the Ads Manager platform or on Google in expert mode, you've seen every time you go in there, there's a new button or they've taken a button away or they're always changing stuff. So being able to mitigate the risk of having one of these channels go down or at least slow down by being able to just put more money into the other funnels, the other channels you are using to mitigate that risk is huge. It will have a much, much smaller impact on your shop, on your artist, and really on the amount of stress that you feel when all of a sudden things are slowing down. So paid ads, a follow-up system. After somebody comes in, what is your shop doing to get them back in again? Do you have events? Are you letting people know? Are you doing like over the slow season? We always recommend having a system set up where you can send out text messages to your past clients saying, hey, if you come in within the next week, we'll give you 10% off or a free hat or an aftercare product. Like it doesn't have to be huge. It can be like people use any excuse to get tattooed, which is amazing about the tattoo industry. You don't have to give out this big discount to get people interested. But having one of those set up, organic social media stuff. If you do have a good following, that can definitely help with this. And when I say a good following, I don't mean you have 50,000 followers from all over the world. That doesn't do much for your actual shop. I'm saying getting a following within 15, 20 miles of your shop of people who like tattoos, who have tattoos, who look like your past clients and can afford your style. That is one thing we do for brand building when we work with a shop is we'll run Instagram ads to get more followers, but it's within 15 miles of the shop and all those things I just talked about. Cause that will actually bring in revenue, especially when times are slow. You can do an Instagram live. When you do a live, everybody gets a notification that follows you about it. Promoting stuff, letting people know you've got time open on your books. And obviously when you do that, don't sound desperate. That never is good, but just letting people know a couple of your artists have availability over the next couple of weeks, stuff like that. So organic social media is a phenomenal way to bring people in when done correctly. Again, it doesn't matter if you have 1 million followers that are all over the world, having 2,000 followers that can actually are within driving distance of your shop will do more for you than that 1 million followers. And then SEO is another good channel, search engine optimization. It's something we're going to actually start offering here in the next 6 months, but that is getting you not just your website ranked higher, but your Google My Business, which is huge. When people are searching for a tattoo shop, almost everybody is going to look at the ads, your Google My Business, and then it actually goes into the normal rankings where SEO matters. For your website. With your Google My Business, if you show up in that Google Map 3-pack and you have 500 reviews with a 4.9 or a 5-star, that's huge. That is an amazing organic way that you will see people start to come in. We're doing it for a shop right now that my buddy owns. And it has done, like he went from a 4.6 and 72 reviews. We started implementing the system to get reviews. 8 months later, he's got, last time I checked, 462 reviews with a 5.0. And just so you know, yes, even if you have negative reviews, you can get back to a 5.0. Your negative reviews just have to be less than half of 1%. So if you got a 4.9, a 4.8, it is still possible to get to a 5.0. Well, that's been huge. Anytime you look up anything about tattoo shops within 30 miles of a shop, he comes up number one. He has the most reviews and he has the best reviews. I've talked to, I can't even tell you how many shops over the last couple of years, and I have never seen a shop with over 450 reviews with a perfect 5-star. So doing stuff to get you there makes you stand out so much more. Ugh. So those are some good channels you can use to, again, mitigate that risk of something happening. I mean, and it can happen across any channel. SEO, your website might go down. Somebody might mess with it. All of a sudden, it's not ranking how it's supposed to be. Google makes a change in their algorithm. All of a sudden, you're not ranked number one because I want to see something else. We've seen this happen a couple, I want to say 6, 7 years ago, maybe a little bit less, before COVID though. Google made the speed that your page loads 20% of your SEO score. So if you were up at number one in your city, and then Google implemented this and you have a slow score, you all of a sudden drop down to off the first page. And the other way around, if you had a very good score and you were ranked lower, all of a sudden you're at the top. If you ever want to check the score of your website, there's a free website called GT Metrics, GTMetrix.com. It just asks you to put in your URL. It's 100% free, and it'll give you a score A through F. You obviously want an A. It'll also tell you on desktop and on mobile. Since most people are using your phones, that's the most important one. You want an A. And usually if you don't, it's a lot of the time it's because of your hosting. Again, topic for a different day. But go ahead and put your website in there and see where you rank. Just interesting to know. Because that can also have effect on how many people are actually going to hang out and wait for your page to load. So there's a handful of ways. What I recommend doing is pick one of the things I talked about and start implementing it. Just pick one and get good at it. Spend 4 or 5 months getting really good at one of these channels, and then hop into another one, and then hop into another one. And obviously keep them all going the entire time. But that will make an absolutely huge difference over the next year or so, and make it so if something happens, you're not so worried about losing clients, especially with the paid ads. You're paying to essentially bypass the algorithm. You could have the worst SEO in the world. Your website can have nothing. You can have terrible backlinks, stuff like that. But if you're doing paid ads, you're still going to be number one. That's the awesome thing with paid advertising is you're paying to be on top. Screw the algorithm. And then if something happens, you can just dump more money into ads. Or if something happens with one of the ad platforms, you can just dump more money into the other ad platform you're using. So let's say Meta goes down, just dump it into Google. Google goes down, dump more into Meta until you find out the workaround. Like iOS 14 took about 4 or 5 months for everybody to figure out the workaround. And now it's not an issue anymore. So yeah, pick one, get it started over the next week is what I highly recommend. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Always happy to answer them. If you're interested in working with us, like I said, we do everything I just talked about for the shops we work with. You can go to www.ink-link.com or check out our Instagram, InkLink Marketing. Shoot us a message. Hope you guys are having a great day, and we'll talk again soon.